Hello everyone, this is Caroline coming to you from Craft Apple today, and today we're going to do the review version or the abbreviated version of the pearl and crystal beaded snowflake ornament. So here's the ornament in question right here. And this one I made with the beads in the kits that I have put together for you to purchase from my Etsy site. Now I am having technical difficulties with Etsy right this second, so that is not available for you for purchase right now. But hopefully it will be within the next couple of days. So when that comes available, I will link that listing in the description so that you can purchase one if you want to. It's a little easier than going out and trying to buy all of the supplies if you don't know you're gonna like this project, or don't want to hassle with making more than one or two. So those will be available to you shortly, I hope. So if you do buy a kit, this is what you get. A little pouch with my little logo on it. Tells you what it is. There's a picture of it, and it tells you what all is in there. If you look at the back of the little pouch, you can see what's in there. There's a little piece of ribbon. There's 5 feet of 28 gauge wire. There's 6 8mm pearls, 6 6mm pearls, 12 4mm pearls, 6 6mm faceted beads, 12 4mm faceted beads, 6 4x6mm rondels, and 6 6mm bicones, as well as 0.6 grams of seed beads and 1 gram of bugle beads. Now I measured those last couple in grams just because it was easier to weigh them all out than it was to count them all out. But how I did that was I counted out all of the ones that you would need, and then I added another 1/10 of a gram to the little container so that you'd have plenty even if you dropped one or two on the floor, or you found a broken one in there, or one was too small or whatever. So those should be available to you shortly. So let's go ahead and get started. I have a kit right here that I put together for myself yesterday. I didn't bother putting it in a baggie, but here it is. So I'm just going to dump all of my stuff into the little container lid. Makes it handy. Everything is right there. Okay, I've got knots in my wire, which is par for the course. Okay, so if you've never done this before, this is not the video for you. If you've never done this before and you're not familiar with beading, you're going to want to check out the other pearl and crystal beaded snowflake ornament tutorial that I have there on my Craft Apple YouTube channel, because it goes into explicit detail on how to hold your wire and the order to put the beads on and all kinds of other tips and tricks for the beginning beader. Alright, so before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and hold up my ornament, and I'm going to tell you the overview of what we're going to do. I'm going to use my pen to kind of point those out. So first we're going to put on these 6 pearls that are in the middle. Then we're going to put on the spikes one at a time, or the arms of the snowflake, however you want to call them. And then when we get back around, we're going to go up through this bicone, and we're going to right away put on the pearl that's next in the chain. And then we're going to go up the side of the spike and down the side of the spike, and then into the next pearl. And then up the side of the spike and down the side of the spike and into the next pearl, all the way around. And that's just about all there is to it. It's really not that difficult once you get the hang of it. Getting the hang of it might be the trick. I mean, I'll just tell you that when I first started making these, the first several didn't come out as nice as I would have hoped, but by the time I did the 15th, they were looking really good, and I was getting pretty fast at it. So it all comes with practice, folks. Okay, so we're going to start out by putting our 6 of our 4mm pearls onto the end of the wire. And I'm just going to pick up my tray like this and just use my wire as a needle to pick up those, because that's easier than picking them up with my fingers most of the time. 2. And you'll notice that I didn't move my thumb and forefinger, I just kept them there so that my beads didn't go all over everywhere, because I just want them to stay right there. Okay, I have 5. I need one more. Okay, now I have 5. So I'm going to go ahead and pinch my wire and allow those to go down a little bit, and then I'm going to curl my wire back in on itself and go through all of those 6 beads and then the first one a second time. So I'm just laying my wire on top of the wire that's already there and just pushing the beads back onto that wire. I'm going to actually pull the little tail a little bit more and wind it around a little bit more, and so I can stick that first pearl back in there. So that first pearl ought to have a wire, 2 wires going through the middle and a wire coming out each side of it, and from there we can just tighten this up. Now I'm going to leave a little tail over here, but it doesn't have to be very long, so I'm just going to grab my fingers onto this first pearl and just pull. Uh-oh. I guess I'll have to pull the other side too. Uh-oh, I got a big old loop in there now. Okay, there we go. There we go. Now we got our 6 beads on there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put on an arm. So we're going to start with a bicone. We're going to do bicone, 4mm faceted, 6mm pearl, 6mm faceted, 4mm pearl, rondel, 4mm faceted, and a seed bead. So there they all are. And now I'm going to allow, I'm going to hold on to my seed bead because I don't really want it at the end. I'm going to move my beads down. I'm going to go back through them last to first. So the seed bead's going to act as our stopper, and we're just going to thread those back through. Again, I'm just putting my wire up alongside the other one and then just sliding the beads back onto it. Then I'm going to stick my hand in this loop over here as I pull my working wire. And before I get it all the way cinched up, I'm going to go back to my center loop, and I'm going to, you can see that this is my tail right here, and this is my working wire right here, and it's coming out this side of that pearl. So I'm going to go in the near side of the next one over, so that it looks like there's kind of a little triangle between those two. And then pull that through. And then I'm going to continue with cinching up my big loop. What I want to do is I want to figure out which of these is the wire that's not going anywhere, that's attached, and which one is the one that's pulling. So this is the one that's pulling, so I want my seed bead to be on the opposite side. And I'm going to use my needle nose pliers or my chain nose pliers to just grip that at the top of the seed bead. I'm going to make sure that that whole arm is flush down against my ring of pearls. And then I've got my needle nose pliers snug against that seed bead, and I'm just going to pull it tight. And then I'm ready to do my next arm. So I'll go ahead and do the next arm with you, and then you can do the rest of all the way around by yourselves. Okay, so I'm going to put on my bicone. Is this in focus? Not really. I'm going to put on my bicone, 4mm faceted, 6mm pearl, 6mm faceted, 4mm pearl. They're all hiding over here in this corner. Rondel, 4mm faceted, and a seed bead. And I'm holding the seed bead between my thumb and forefinger and let the other one slide down to my other hand's fingers, because that seed bead, I don't want to go back through it. It's going to be my lock to lock these beads into position. Okay, so again, I'm going to lay my wire alongside my other wire so that I can go back through those beads. Last one first. And I'm just sliding them right back onto there. And I'm going to stick my hand in here to help me as I'm pulling this to keep my wire from bunching up. And before I get it all the way back down to the center ring, I'm going to go through the next pearl in my ring. So you can see it's coming out of this pearl. So I'm going to go into the pearl right next door. And I'm going to pull the slack out of that one. Try and make sure that I don't get any real tight kinks in there. And then I'm going to put my hand back in this other loop over here. I got my thumb in there to keep it from getting all tight. Then I'm going to go ahead and find which of these is the wire that's moving and which isn't. And the side that isn't, that's the one that the seed bead's going to go on. I'm going to snug my column up to the center ring of pearls. I'm going to grab my needle nose or my chain nose pliers and grip that wire right above the seed bead and snug my wire right around the nose of my pliers. And then go ahead and do the next spike. So go ahead and do that all the way around, but stop before you go back through the beads on the 6th spike. Stop. Because we're going to do two things differently. The first thing is we're going to put in our ribbon before we get it all cinched up tight. And the second one is that instead of only going through the next pearl in our ring, we're going to go through the next pearl and the bicone all at once so that we don't kink our wire. So I will show you how to do that when we come back. Hello everyone, welcome back. So we're just about to put our 6th spike on. So I'm going to put those on real quick and you can watch me do it. Bicone, 4mm faceted. Come here, you. Yeah, today is going to be the day, right? Right when everybody's paying attention, watching me do this, and I need to go fast. Alright, 6mm pearl, 6mm faceted. Come here, you. 4mm pearl. There it is. Rondel, 4mm faceted. I'm going to let those slide down to my fingers here. Put on my my locking seed bead. Uh-oh, I dropped a seed bead. Alright, and I'm going to go back through my beads like I did before. I'm just lining up my wire and slipping them down. Okay, and I'm going to tighten this up a little bit. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through my next pearl and my bicone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend my arm so that the hole in the pearl and the hole in the bicone are matched up, and then I'm going to bend the arm again so that the hole here isn't blocked by all of these beads. And then I'm going to put my wire through both of those beads at once. Uh-oh, I went through the pearl but missed the bicone. We'll try that again. I am so unhappy with the focus on this camera. Seriously, my cell phone did a better job. I may have to go back to that. Come on, go in there. Please. That was a no for all you at home. Okay, there we got it. Okay, so there it is. Okay, so now I'm going to tighten it up like usual. Snug it on down. Put my seed bead on the side that isn't going anywhere. Snug it down and put the nose of my pliers right on top of that seed bead. And then tighten that wire down. Awesome. Alright, and now that we've got all those on, we can snip off this tail wire that was left over from when we started. So go ahead and grab your side cutters and do that. Oh shoot, we forgot to put the hanger on. So I'm going to loosen this spike up a little bit. They're not the right ones. So I'm going to use my chain nose pliers to do that. Okay, that's good enough. And I'm going to grab my ribbon, or here one is anyway. Your kits will all come with silver, at least this round of kits all have silver ones in there. This is a gold one that was cut and sitting there looking for a home. So I'll put the gold one in it. Anyway, before you get this one cinched down, you want to stick your ribbon in there, because otherwise this loop is really small. It's hard to get it in there. I suppose if you're using like a traditional Christmas tree hook, you know, you could stick one of those in here without too much trouble. I've got a bigger loop in there now. What is with all this glare today, huh? So I'm going to stick that in there, and I'm going to go ahead and tie it as well so that it doesn't fall out on me. Okay, so how I'm going to tie it is I'm going to tie an overhand knot, which means I'm going to make a loop up here like that, crossing the strings over each other here, and then I'm going to tuck the tails around the back side and through the loop. Looks a little like a pretzel, and then cinch it tight, and there we go. Okay, and we're going to tighten that back up. Oh shoot, I tightened it too much, I think. Maybe not. It's probably fine. Okay, and we're going to snip off our tail. So our ornament is not going to fall apart even if we remove that. Okay, and then we're going to put on our big pearls and our little side sweeps around. So first we're going to put on a big pearl. And we're going to go over to the next spike, and we're going to wrap our wire around the next spike over between the bicone and the 4mm sparkly, and I'm just going to wrap it around like that, and then I'm going to put on my seed bead bugle bead sequence, which is going to have three bugle beads separated by seed bead first. So seed bead, bugle bead, come here you, seed bead, bugle bead, seed bead, bugle bead, oops, it left, and seed bead. So that is one side of our spike right there. one side of our decorative loopedies. Okay, I'm going to let that go down to the end of my wire. Okay, and then I'm going to wrap this around. You can kind of gauge where you want to wrap it around on your spike, but I'm going to wrap it between the pearl and the rondel here. And I'm going to go, I'm just wrapping it around so that it's in position to go down the other side. And I'm going to do that again. So seed bead, bugle bead, seed bead, bugle bead, seed bead, bugle bead, seed bead. Okay, all in a row. Man, the light is just so bad for this right now. I might have to do this video again. Okay. Okay, and then I'm gonna put it back down my thing, and I'm gonna wrap around again between the bicone and the 4mm faceted, and I want my wire to end up over here so that I can put the next pearl on in my row. There we are. That's the first spike done. So now we're going to put on another 8mm pearl. And we're going to wrap around our next spike between the bicone and the 4mm faceted bead. Just like that. And my wire is lined up right beside my big pearl. And we're going to put on our seed bead, bugle bead sequence again. Seed bead, bugle bead, seed bead, bugle bead, seed bead, bugle bead, seed bead. Okay, there we go. And we'll let those beads fall down, and we'll wrap around our spike between the pearl, the 4mm pearl, and the pink rondel. And we want our wire to end up on the empty side of the spike so that we can put our beads on that side next. So we're going to do our sequence again. Seed bead, bugle bead. Seed bead, bugle bead, seed bead, bugle bead, seed bead, bugle bead. Come here, you. Being stubborn. We'll pick out a different one. Seed bead. Okay, so there we have it again. And we're going to let that fall down to our spike. Uh-oh! Okay, none fell off. That's good. And we're going to wrap that around again between our 4mm bead, our 4mm faceted, and our pink bicone right here. And we want the wire to end up over here on this empty side so that we can put our next pearl on. Okay, so we've got 2 spikes done. I'm going to let you all go ahead and do the rest of those by yourself. And when we're ready to tie off, I will get back to you and we'll tie that off together. Alright folks, I'm just about to put the side decorations on my last spike, and then we will go ahead and finish this guy off. So here I go with my last seed bead, bugle bead sequence. Seed bead, come here you, bugle bead, seed bead, bugle bead. I don't like that seed bead, it's big. Let's try this one over here. Seed bead, bugle bead, seed bead. Oh, and I'm sorry, that was totally off camera. Okay, so there's my sequence right there. And I'm going to let it fall down. And I'm going to twist around over here between the 4mm bead and the bicone, the 4mm faceted and the bicone. And instead of wrapping it just once, I'm going to wrap it twice. Alright, so now that's good. And now to finish it, I'm going to do my very bestest to string my wire down through this bicone towards my center ring of pearls, and then just snip it off. So here we go. Also, be aware that the wire may come out the front where you're trying to put it in, but it might also come out the other side. So just kind of feel and look where it's going, because the other wires that are in there are going to shove it. There we go. It went nice right in through that time. Try and keep that loop as open as possible for as long as possible. I'm going to stick my round nose pliers in there, see if that'll help. But then at the end, you're just going to have to pull it through as best you can. And there we go. That's it. That's all there is to it. We're going to snip this off. There we go. And there you have it. Alrighty folks, I hope you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing to my channel if you are liking these videos, and hit the notification bell for any new videos that might be coming up. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.